We love knowing our global reach. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. The Last Dinner. Devin Mercer stared at the perfectly arranged table settings at his in-laws' sprawling Connecticut home. Crystal glasses caught the chandelier light as his wife, Vanessa, flitted around the dining room, touching shoulders and sharing laughs with her family. Thanksgiving had always been the Harlow family's premier event, a display of wealth, connections, and unspoken hierarchies. At 42, Devin still felt like an outsider among the Harlows despite 7 years of marriage. He had come from nothing, raised by a single mother in rural Ohio, worked through college on scholarships, and built his architectural consulting business from scratch. His accomplishments meant nothing to the Harlows, who measured worth in family names and trust funds. His mother-in-law, Beatrice Harlow, approached with a glass of wine. "Devin, dear, why don't you help Thomas bring in more chairs? We're short too." Thomas, Vanessa's younger brother, shot Devin a smirk. At 33, Thomas had never worked a day in his life, living off his parents' fortune while posing as a venture capitalist. "Sure thing, Beatrice," Devin replied, setting down his drink. In the storage room, Thomas leaned against a wall. "So how's business? Still drawing little buildings?" Devin ignored the jab, grabbing 2 folding chairs. "Architectural consulting isn't drawing buildings, Thomas. But yes, business is good. We just landed the Westlake project. Dad says that project's going to tank. Economic downturn and all." Thomas examined his manicured nails. "Guess you wouldn't know about market predictions." Before Devin could respond, his phone buzzed. A text from his business partner, Liam. "They accepted our bid. We beat Henderson Group. Celebrating tomorrow." A rare smile crossed Devin's face. The Henderson Group was their biggest competitor, run by Preston Henderson, Vanessa's ex-boyfriend, and the man her family had always preferred she marry. When Devin returned to the dining room, the atmosphere shifted. Faces turned toward him with peculiar expressions: pity, amusement, discomfort. Vanessa stood at the head of the table, wine glass in hand, mid-speech. "I mean, dating apps have a 99% success rate these days. He's the 1% failure." She laughed, pointing directly at him. The room fell silent as Devin stood frozen, holding the folding chairs. "Oh, honey," Vanessa continued, her voice syrupy with mock affection. "I was just telling everyone about our meet-cute. You know, the marriage mistake." Frederick Harlow, Devin's father-in-law, cleared his throat uncomfortably. "Perhaps we should serve the turkey." But Beatrice was already chiming in. "Well, darling, you could always upgrade. Preston just finalized his divorce, and he was asking about you at the club." The room erupted in laughter. Devin set the chairs down quietly. 7 years of small digs, of being the outsider, of watching Vanessa's gradual transformation from the woman who'd once loved his ambition to someone embarrassed by his presence. It all crystallized in that moment. "Devin," Vanessa called, noticing his expression. It was just a joke. Without a word, Devin walked upstairs to their guest room. He packed his suitcase methodically, placed his wedding ring on the dresser, and walked out the front door. Behind him, he could hear Vanessa calling his name, then dismissing his departure to her family. "He's so sensitive sometimes. He'll be back." He wouldn't. Chapter 2. Ghosts and Foundations. 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, Devin sat across from his lawyer in downtown Boston, a city deliberately chosen for its distance from Connecticut and the Harlow sphere of influence. "You're sure about this?" Martin Wolf asked, adjusting his glasses. "Complete disappearance? New identity? It's extreme, Devin." "I'm sure." Devin slid a folder across the desk. "The Harlows have connections everywhere. If I simply divorce Vanessa, they'll make sure I never work in architecture again. Frederick already threatened as much when I wouldn't sign my company over to their family trust last year." Martin sighed. "Your business is finally taking off. The Westlake project alone would set you up for. They'd find a way to take that too." Devin's voice hardened. "I've spent 7 years watching how they operate. They'll crush me out of spite." After signing the papers, Devin walked to his hotel. His phone buzzed constantly. Vanessa, Liam, clients. He answered none of them. At midnight, he dropped his phone into Boston Harbor and watched it sink. By February, Davis Morgan existed on paper: new social security number, driver's license, background. His architectural degree couldn't be transferred, but his knowledge remained. He took a job as a draftsman at a small firm in Portland, Oregon. The owner, Russell Bergen recognized talent when he saw it. "You're overqualified," Russell said after Devon's first month. "I don't know what you're running from, but your work is exceptional." "Just looking for a fresh start," Devon replied. "Well, your fresh start just earned you a promotion. Junior architect position opened up. It's yours if you want it." Devon's new apartment was small, a studio above a bookstore in a rain-soaked Portland neighborhood. Nothing like the spacious Connecticut home he'd shared with Vanessa. But for the first time in years, he slept without the weight of inadequacy pressing on his chest. On particularly dark nights, he'd allow himself to remember the way Vanessa looked when they first met, genuinely intrigued by the ambitious architect from nowhere. How quickly that changed after marriage, when her family's expectations began to overshadow their relationship. The gradual realization that she saw him as a project, not a partner. 6 months after disappearing, Devon saw his own face on a missing persons report online. The story painted him as potentially mentally unstable, possibly a danger to himself. The Harlows had spun a narrative of a man who couldn't handle business pressure, who'd abandoned his thriving firm and loving wife. Beneath the article was a quote from Preston Henderson, now identified as Vanessa's longtime friend. "I'm deeply concerned for Devon. We've had our professional rivalries, but I'd never wish this kind of breakdown on anyone." Devon closed the browser and returned to his drafting board. Let them think him broken. He was building something new. Chapter 3, Rising from Ashes. 5 years after vanishing, Davis Morgan became partner at Bergen Architecture. His distinctive modernist designs with sustainable elements had attracted attention throughout the Pacific Northwest. Magazines featured his work, clients sought him specifically, and his reputation grew beyond Portland. "You should consider starting your own firm," Russell suggested over lunch. "You've outgrown us, Davis." Devon, now accustomed to his new name, shook his head. "I appreciate what you've given me, Russell. Partnership is more than enough." The truth was more complicated. Launching a firm under his own name would increase visibility. Even with his new identity, a high-profile architect might draw unwanted attention. The Harlows hadn't stopped looking for him, not out of concern, but to protect their narrative and recover what they considered their property. His silent partner in the disappearance, Martin Wolf, sent annual updates through secure channels. Vanessa had filed for divorce in absentia after 2 years, portraying herself as the abandoned wife. She had also married Preston Henderson the following year, consolidating the architectural empire the Harlows had always wanted. They had a child now, a 3-year-old boy named Alexander. Liam had been forced to sell their old firm for pennies on the dollar, crushed by the Harlows' business connections after Devon's disappearance. None of it touched Devon anymore. Davis Morgan had built a life without the shadow of inadequacy that had followed Devon Mercer. On the 7th anniversary of his disappearance, Devon received an unusual message from Martin. "They've hired a specialized investigator. Be cautious." 3 weeks later, while reviewing plans for an eco-resort in Washington state, Devon's assistant interrupted. "There's someone insistent on seeing you, Mr. Morgan. A woman named Nina Reeves. Says it's about a private commission." The name meant nothing to him. "Send her in." The woman who entered wasn't a potential client. Slender, mid-30s, with intelligent eyes that assessed everything. "Mr. Morgan, or should I say Mr. Mercer?" Devon's expression remained neutral. "I think you have me confused with someone else." Nina placed a folder on his desk. 7 years ago, you disappeared after a Thanksgiving dinner. Your wife has been searching for you ever since. "I don't know what you're talking about. I've been in Portland for nearly a decade." Nina smiled. "Your documentation is impressive, but facial recognition software has improved significantly. A design magazine featured you at the Seattle Architectural Showcase last month. The algorithms found you." Devon leaned back. "What do you want? I was hired to find you. Now I have." She stood. "They'll be here tomorrow. I've given them your address and workplace." "And what do you expect will happen?" Nina paused at the door. "That depends on whether you're still running, Mr. Mercer. For what it's worth, what they did to you was inexcusable. But 7 years is a long time for everyone." After she left, Devon sat motionless, staring at the Portland skyline. 7 years of careful construction, a new identity, a new life, a new reputation. All potentially collapsing with a single recognition algorithm. He considered running again. He had contingency plans, another identity, accounts in different names. But running would mean rebuilding from zero once more. No, Devon Mercer had run once. Davis Morgan wouldn't. That night, he placed a call to Martin Wolf for the first time in years. They found me. I heard. Nina Reeves is thorough. What will you do? Prepare. Devin's voice was calm. It's time to implement contingency Omega. Omega. Martin sounded alarmed. That was your scorched earth scenario. Is that really necessary? They're coming to my door, Martin. After 7 years of freedom, they want to drag me back into their world. What would you suggest? The line went silent for a moment. Very well. Omega it is. I'll activate the protocols immediately. Thank you, Martin. Devin, Martin said quietly. Whatever happens, remember that revenge is a path that changes the traveler as much as the destination. Devin hung up and turned to his computer. By dawn, he had set everything in motion. When the Harlows and their entourage arrived, they would find not the broken man they expected, but something far more dangerous. A man with nothing left to lose and 7 years of calculated planning behind him. Chapter 4. Unwelcome Visitors. At precisely 10:17 a.m., the elevator to Devin's floor pinged. He sat at his desk, reviewing blueprints, when his assistant's voice came through the intercom. Mr. Morgan? There are several people here insisting on seeing you. A Mrs. Henderson, Mr. Henderson, and others. They don't have appointments. Send them in, Allison, Devin replied calmly. The door opened, and 7 years collapsed into a single moment. Vanessa entered first, still elegant at 42, though lines of stress now framed her eyes. Behind her came Preston Henderson, more gray at his temples, but wearing the same self-assured expression Devin remembered. Following them were Thomas Harlow and, surprisingly, Liam Bennett, Devin's former business partner. Devin. Vanessa's voice broke on his name. Her eyes were red-rimmed, mascara slightly smudged. It's really you. Devin leaned back in his chair, observing them with clinical detachment. It's Davis, actually. Davis Morgan. He turned to his assistant hovering by the door. Allison, would you mind holding my calls for the next hour? After Allison left, closing the door behind her, silence descended. Preston broke it first. You've done well for yourself, Mercer. Nice little operation here. Bergen and Morgan is the third largest architectural firm in the Pacific Northwest, Devin replied evenly. Hardly little. Vanessa moved closer, reaching for his desk. Devin, please. We need to talk to you. It's important. Important enough to hunt me down after 7 years? Devin kept his voice neutral. What could possibly be so urgent? Our son, Vanessa whispered, tears spilling over. Alexander is sick. Very sick. He needs you. Devin's expression didn't change. You mean your son with Preston? He's not my concern. That's what we need to tell you. Liam interjected, stepping forward. Alexander is your biological son. For the first time, Devin's composure wavered. Explain. Vanessa sank into a chair opposite his desk. After you left that night, I discovered I was pregnant. About 6 weeks along. I tried to find you, but you'd vanished completely. Preston's jaw tightened. When we married, I agreed to raise him as my own. The timing worked. No one questioned it. And now he's sick, Thomas added. Acute myeloid leukemia. He needs a bone marrow transplant. We've all been tested. None of us are compatible. So you need my bone marrow, Devin concluded flatly. That's why you tracked me down. We're begging you, Vanessa said, fresh tears flowing. He's just a little boy, 6 years old. He's fighting so hard, but the doctors say. Stop. Devin stood, walking to the window. Portland sprawled beneath gray skies. You show up after 7 years, expecting me to believe this story? The timing is suspiciously convenient. Liam stepped forward, placing medical records on Devin's desk. It's all here. The diagnosis, the test results. Alexander doesn't have much time. Devin scanned the documents. They appeared legitimate, but then, the Harlows had always been excellent at manipulation. Why did you bring him? Devin nodded toward Liam. My former partner who let my business get destroyed. Liam flinched. I tried to fight them, Devin. After you disappeared, Frederick threatened my family. They systematically canceled our contracts, blocked our loans. I had nothing left to sell but the company. And now you work for Henderson Architecture, Devin observed coldly. I had a family to support, Liam replied, eyes downcast. Devin turned to face them all. Let me be clear, I don't believe you. I don't trust any of you. If Alexander exists, if he is my biological child, and if he is truly ill, I'll need verification from independent sources. We'll provide anything you need, Vanessa said quickly. Just please, come back with us. Meet him. He doesn't have much time. I'm not going anywhere with you, Devin stated firmly. If you want my help, we do this my way. I'll have my own medical team verify everything. If, and only if, they confirm your story, I'll consider providing bone marrow. Nothing more. Preston stepped forward aggressively. Listen, Mercer. This isn't a negotiation. That boy is dying. If I what, Henderson? Devin's voice dropped dangerously. Remember, I vanished once. I can do it again. This time where even your fancy algorithms won't find me. That silenced them. Now, Devin continued, you will provide DNA samples to confirm paternity. You will grant my medical team full access to Alexander's records and allow them to conduct independent testing. You will not attempt to contact me outside of the parameters I establish. And if we agree? Thomas asked. Then I'll consider helping the boy. Devin returned to his desk. Not for any of you. For an innocent child who never asked to be born into your family. Vanessa stood, composing herself. We'll do whatever you ask. Just please, don't take too long. Alexander doesn't have much time. Devin buzzed for his assistant. Allison, my guests are leaving. Please show them out. As they filed toward the door, Vanessa turned back. I'm sorry, Devin. For everything. That night at Thanksgiving. I never meant. Goodbye, Vanessa. Devin cut her off, turning his attention to his computer, dismissing them all. After they left, Devin sat motionless, the perfect control he'd maintained threatening to crack. A son, possibly his son, dying. It could all be an elaborate trap. The Harlows were certainly capable of such deception. But if true, he picked up his phone and dialed. Martin, I need you in Portland immediately. And bring Dr. Sanjay with you. We have a situation. Chapter 5, Blood Ties. 3 days later, Devin sat in a private room at Portland Memorial Hospital, reviewing test results with Dr. Eliza Sanjay, a medical specialist who had once saved Martin Wolf's life and owed him a debt of discretion. The paternity test is conclusive, Dr. Sanjay confirmed, pointing to the highlighted sections. 99.99% probability that you're Alexander's biological father. And his condition? Devin asked, his voice carefully neutral. Dr. Sanjay's expression grew somber. The diagnosis is accurate. Acute myeloid leukemia, aggressive variant. He's undergone 2 rounds of chemotherapy with minimal response. A bone marrow transplant is his best chance for survival. And I'm a match? Preliminary testing suggests a 9 out of 10 HLA match, which is excellent for a parent-child relationship. Not perfect, but very promising. Martin Wolf, sitting quietly in the corner, finally spoke. They're not lying about this, Devin. The boy is truly ill, and he truly is your son. Devin stood, pacing the small room. 7 years of carefully constructed walls threatened to crumble. The Harlows had found his one potential vulnerability, a child he never knew existed. What if this is just step 1? Devin mused aloud. I provide bone marrow, save the boy, and then they use him to drag me back into their world permanently. That's a distinct possibility, Martin acknowledged. The Harlows don't do anything without multiple angles. I want to see him, Devin decided suddenly. Not with them present. Just the boy. Dr. Sanjay nodded. I can arrange that. He's at Connecticut Children's in Hartford. I can have privileges transferred and bring you in as a consulting physician. Do it. 2 days later, Devin stood outside a hospital room in Hartford, Connecticut, dressed in a doctor's white coat with an ID badge identifying him as Dr. Davis Morgan. Through the window, he could see a small figure in the bed, dark hair like his own, pale skin, animated despite the 4 lines and monitoring equipment as he played a video game. Dr. Sanjay appeared at his side. He's having a good day. The nurses say he's quite the fighter. Does he know about me? Devin asked quietly. They've told him a compatible donor has been located. Nothing more. Devin took a deep breath and entered the room. Alexander looked up, pausing his game. Are you another doctor? The boy asked, assessing Devin with startlingly familiar eyes, Devin's own eyes. Something like that, Devin replied, approaching the bed. I'm Davis. I'm Alex. Are you here to poke me with more needles? Because I'm kind of on a boss level right now. Despite himself, Devin smiled. No needles today. I just wanted to meet you. Are you the one who's going to give me new bone marrow? Directness, another trait they apparently shared. Possibly. Alex tilted his head, studying Devin with unnerving intensity. You look like me. Mom has a picture of a man who looks like you, but she keeps it hidden in her dresser. Devin froze. Does she now? Yeah. She looks at it sometimes when she thinks no one's around. She gets sad after. Alex returned to his game. Are you him? What makes you ask that? Alex shrugged without looking up. Just wondering why she'd keep a picture of someone who made her sad. Must be important. Devin sat in the chair beside the bed. What has she told you about your father? That he's Preston. But I heard them fighting. Preston said I wasn't really his, that he only pretended because of Mom. Alex's fingers moved deftly over the controls. Adults think kids don't listen, but we do. Devin watched the boy navigate a complex game level with remarkable strategy for his age. Does that bother you? About Preston? Not really. He's not around much anyway. Always at work. Alex defeated a digital enemy with a flourish. Besides, it explains why he never wants to play games with me. We don't like the same things. What do you like? Building stuff. Drawing buildings. Mom gets weird when I do that. Alex finally looked up again. So, are you my real dad? The question, delivered with such casualness, struck Devin like a physical blow. 7 years of careful distance collapsed under the weight of those 5 simple words. It's complicated, Devin managed. Adults always say that when they don't want to answer, Alex observed. But it's not complicated to me. Either you are or you aren't. Before Devin could respond, the door opened and Vanessa entered. She froze at the sight of Devin sitting beside Alex's bed. What are you doing here? She whispered, fear and anger mingling in her expression. We had an agreement. I needed to see him, Devin replied calmly, standing. To confirm for myself. Alex looked between them, comprehension dawning. So you are him. The man in the picture. Vanessa's face paled. Alexander. Honey, this is a medical consultation. No more lies, Vanessa. Devin cut her off. He deserves better than that. The tension in the room was palpable. Alex, remarkably mature for 6, set down his game controller. Are you going to save me? He asked Devin directly. Yes, Devin answered without hesitation. I'll be your donor. Thank you. The boy said simply, then picked up his controller again, returning to his game with the resilience only children possess. In the hallway outside, Vanessa confronted Devin. You had no right to come here without telling us. I had every right, Devin countered coldly. He's my son, a fact you concealed for 7 years. I tried to find you. Vanessa hissed. You disappeared completely. And when you couldn't find me, you let another man claim him. Devin's voice was steel. Tell me, Vanessa, if Alexander hadn't gotten sick, would you ever have told him the truth? Would you ever have looked for me again? Vanessa's silence was answer enough. I'll donate the bone marrow, Devin stated. The procedure will happen here, under Dr. Sanjay's supervision. After that, we'll discuss Alexander's future. What does that mean? Vanessa asked, alarm evident in her tone. It means I've spent 7 years building a life without the Harlow family's toxic influence. I won't let my son grow up suffocated by it either. You can't take him from us, Vanessa said desperately. Courts always favor the mother, and you abandoned us. Devin smiled thinly. I've learned a few things from your family, Vanessa, like how to plan several moves ahead. The donation happens tomorrow. After Alexander recovers, we'll revisit this conversation. As he walked away, Devin's mind was already calculating. Contingency Omega had been designed for maximum retribution. Now it needed modification, surgical precision rather than total destruction. The targets remained the same, but now there was an innocent to protect. In his hotel room that night, Devin called Martin. I need everything you have on Preston Henderson's business practices. Every project, every client, every permit. Already compiled, Martin replied. What about the Harlows? Everything. Frederick's financial dealings. Beatrice's charities. Thomas's ventures. I want it all. And Vanessa? Devin paused, looking at his phone where a photo of Alexander now served as background. Find me the best custody attorneys in Connecticut. Cost is no object. This changes everything. You know, Martin said quietly. Your plan was to disappear again after delivering justice. Plans change when children are involved, Devin replied. I won't abandon him twice. Chapter 6, Shadows of the Past. The bone marrow donation procedure took place without complications. As Devin recovered in his hospital room, an unexpected visitor arrived. Liam Bennett, his former business partner. The nurse said you were awake, Liam said awkwardly, standing in the doorway. Can I come in? Devin gestured to the chair beside his bed. You're the last person I expected to see. Liam sat, his posture broadcasting discomfort. I needed to talk to you. Away from the Harlows. Away from Preston. About what? About what really happened after you disappeared. Liam leaned forward. They didn't just destroy our company, Devin. They destroyed me. Made sure I'd never work independently again. So you joined Henderson Architecture, Devin observed coldly. I had no choice. My wife was pregnant with twins. Preston offered me a position with one condition. I had to sign over all our old intellectual property. Our designs, Devin realized. The Westlake project. Liam nodded miserably. Henderson Architecture took credit for everything we developed. The sustainable water systems, the geothermal integration, all of it. That explains why their recent projects looked familiar. Devin studied his former partner. Why are you telling me this now? Because I'm tired of living under their thumb. Liam pulled out a flash drive. This contains internal documents from Henderson Architecture. Financial records, client communications, design thefts, not just from us, but from other firms too. Devin took the drive. What do you expect me to do with this? Whatever you want. I don't care anymore. Liam stood. My kids are 10 now. They deserve a father who can look at himself in the mirror. You realize this could implicate you too. I know. I've made my peace with that. Liam headed for the door, then paused. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I should have fought harder. After Liam left, Devin inserted the drive into his laptop. Hours passed as he examined the contents. A comprehensive record of corruption, design theft, permit bribery, and more. It was a roadmap to destroying Henderson Architecture and, by extension, the Harlows who had intertwined their fortune with Preston's. But something nagged at him. The information was too perfect, too comprehensive. Why would Liam have access to all this? Even as a senior architect, these financial and legal documents would be beyond his purview. Unless. Devin called Martin. I need background surveillance on Liam Bennett for the past week. Who has he met with? Who has contacted him? The answer came that evening. Liam had met with Frederick Harlow twice and Preston Henderson 3 times before delivering the flash drive. It's a trap, Devin murmured to himself. The files were genuine. That much his initial analysis confirmed. But the act of accessing them would leave digital footprints. If he used this information, he would be implicated in corporate espionage. The old Devin might have fallen for it. Davis Morgan knew better. While recovering, Devin received daily visits from Alexander, who was showing positive initial responses to the transplant. The boy's resilience impressed Devin, as did his sharp mind. During one visit, Alexander brought architectural sketches, childish but showing genuine spatial awareness. Mom gets mad when I draw buildings, Alexander confided. She says it reminds her of things she wants to forget. Do you enjoy designing them? Devin asked. Alexander nodded enthusiastically. I like figuring out how things fit together. Preston says it's a waste of time, that I should focus on business like him. What do you think? I think adults spend too much time doing things they don't like. Alexander added details to his sketch. Why would I want to do that? Devin smiled. A valid question. On the 5th day of his recovery, Vanessa came alone. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. Alexander's preliminary results are encouraging, she said, standing awkwardly at the foot of his bed. The doctors are optimistic. Good. Devin set aside his tablet. Was there something else? Vanessa hesitated, then sat in the visitor's chair. I want to apologize. For that night at Thanksgiving. For everything. 7 years later. Devin's voice was neutral. Why now? Because I've had 7 years to realize what I lost. She met his eyes directly. I loved you, Devin. But my family, they wore me down. Made me doubt everything good between us. And Preston? Was he part of wearing you down too? Vanessa looked away. Preston was my family's choice from the beginning. When you disappeared, it was convenient for everyone. Except Alexander, who you raised to believe another man was his father. I thought you were gone forever, she whispered. What was I supposed to do? Devin studied her. The woman he'd once loved enough to marry, enough to endure her family's constant degradation. 7 years had changed them both. What do you want, Vanessa? Really? She took a deep breath. A second chance. For us. The request hung in the air between them. Once, those words would have meant everything to him. There is no us anymore, Devin said finally. There's only Alexander. He needs a family. A complete one. He had one. You and Preston. until it became inconvenient. Vanessa's eyes flashed with rare anger. That's not fair. Preston never connected with him. He tried, but Alexander wasn't his blood, Devon finished. The Harlow family obsession with bloodlines and legacy. You don't understand how difficult. I understand perfectly, Devon interrupted. I understand that you're here not because you want me back, but because you want security for Alexander. Preston is pulling away, your family is concerned about appearances, and suddenly finding Alexander's biological father seems like a convenient solution. Vanessa stood abruptly. You've become cold, Devon. I've become clear-sighted. There's a difference. He picked up his tablet again. We'll discuss Alexander's future once he's stabilized. Until then, I have nothing more to say to you. After she left, Devon made another call to Martin. I need a comprehensive background investigation on Preston Henderson's activities for the past year. Focus on potential affairs, financial irregularities, anything outside his public persona. Looking for leverage? Martin asked. No, Devon replied. Looking for patterns. The Harlows never do anything without calculation. I want to know what game they're really playing. That night, Devon received a text from an unknown number. Not everyone in the family approved of what happened to you. Some of us want to make it right. Meet tomorrow, 8 p.m., Hospital Chapel. Come alone. The sender's identity was a mystery, but Devon had his suspicions. The message's timing was too convenient, just as he was gathering information for his countermove. Another trap, perhaps, or possibly a genuine ally. Either way, it was time to accelerate his plans. While the Harlows and Hendersons believed him focused on Alexander's treatment, Devon had been laying groundwork. The flash drive Liam provided, though intended as a trap, contained genuine information that, with proper handling, could become powerful ammunition. Devon sent a reply to the unknown number. I'll be there. Whatever came next, he would be ready. The chessboard was set, and he had no intention of being a pawn in anyone else's game. This time, he would be the player, not the piece. Chapter 7. Allies and Enemies. The hospital chapel was empty when Devon arrived at 7:55 p.m. He chose a seat with clear sight lines to both entrances and waited. At precisely 8 p.m., the door opened, revealing the last person he expected, Beatrice Harlow, his former mother-in-law. Thank you for coming, she said, settling into a pew across the aisle. At 65, Beatrice remained elegant, her silver hair perfectly coiffed, her posture regal. Curiosity outweighed caution, Devon replied. What do you want, Beatrice? She studied him with calculating eyes. You've changed. The man who married my daughter would never have spoken so directly. 7 years changes people. Indeed. She opened her handbag, removing a slim file. I've brought something you should see. Devon made no move to take it. Why would you help me? Because Frederick has gone too far. Her voice hardened. Using a child, my grandson, as leverage. There are boundaries, even in our world. Your husband has never recognized boundaries. No, he hasn't. She placed the file on the pew between them. But I do, especially when it comes to family. Alexander, Devon realized. This is about protecting him. Beatrice nodded. Frederick sees the boy as another asset. Preston sees him as a burden. Vanessa sees him as her only remaining value to the family. No one sees him as a child who deserves better. Except you, and you. She gestured to the file. Take it. It details Frederick's true plan. Cautiously, Devon picked up the file and opened it. Inside were legal documents, custody arrangements, guardianship transfers, medical authorizations. All designed to give Frederick Harlow complete control over Alexander, particularly his medical decisions and inheritance trust. They're using his illness, Devon said quietly, anger building as he read. Setting up a structure where Frederick controls everything, including experimental treatments. My husband sees Alexander's condition as an opportunity, Beatrice confirmed. The boy's genetic makeup, half Mercer, half Harlow, interests certain research colleagues of Frederick's. Rare combinations, unique genetic markers. He wants to turn my son into a research subject, Devon realized, horror dawning. These authorizations would allow tissue sampling, experimental protocols, all in the name of seeking cures. Of course, Beatrice finished. Very noble sounding. Very profitable for Frederick's biotech investments. Why are you showing me this? Devon asked, his voice dangerously quiet. Because I've spent 45 years enabling that man's ambitions. I've watched him sacrifice our children on the altar of legacy. I won't watch him do the same to my grandson. Beatrice stood. Use this information however you see fit. I'll deny ever giving it to you. As she reached the door, Devon called after her. Why now, Beatrice? After all these years of complicity. She paused, her back to him. Because Alexander reminds me of Thomas before Frederick broke him. Full of creativity and possibility. I couldn't save my son. Perhaps you can save yours. After she left, Devon studied the documents carefully. They confirmed his worst suspicions while opening new avenues for his plan. Frederick wasn't just after control. He was building a medical research empire with Alexander as a centerpiece. The following morning, Devon visited Alexander, finding the boy notably stronger. Color had returned to his cheeks, and he was sketching buildings again. The doctors say your bone marrow is already working, Alexander announced proudly. They used big words, but basically, you fixed me. That's excellent news, Devon replied, sitting beside the bed. How do you feel? Better. Not so tired. Alexander pushed his sketch toward Devon. I designed a house. See, it has solar panels and a garden on the roof. Devon examined the drawing, remarkably sophisticated concepts for a 6-year-old. This is impressive. You've thought about sustainability. Grandpa Frederick says that's stupid tree-hugger stuff, Alexander confided. But I saw your buildings online. They all have green things. Devon raised an eyebrow. You look me up? Duh. I'm 6, not stupid. Alexander grinned. Davis Morgan, partner at Bergen Architecture. You make cool buildings. The revelation that Alexander had researched him sent a wave of pride through Devon. What else did you find out? That you disappeared 7 years ago with a different name. That's when Mom got sad in the pictures. Alexander looked up. Why did you go away? The directness of the question deserved honesty. Because I was hurt. Your mother's family made me feel like I wasn't good enough. Grandpa does that to everyone, Alexander observed. Even Mom. Especially Mom. Before Devon could respond, the door opened and Preston Henderson entered. He froze at the sight of Devon. What are you doing here? Preston demanded. Visiting my son, Devon replied calmly. Problem. Preston's jaw tightened. Alexander, your grandmother Beatrice is in the hallway. She brought you something. Why don't you go see? Once Alexander had left, Preston closed the door. Let's be clear, Mercer. You provided bone marrow. We're grateful. But that doesn't make you his father. Biology disagrees. Biology isn't everything, Preston snapped. I've raised him for 6 years while you were playing architect in Portland. Because I didn't know he existed, Devon countered. A fact deliberately kept from me. Preston scoffed. Vanessa tried to find you. You disappeared completely. And you stepped in very conveniently. Devon tilted his head. Tell me, was it your idea to marry her immediately after I vanished, or Frederick's? A flash of discomfort crossed Preston's face. That's irrelevant now. Is it? Devon stood. I find nothing about this situation irrelevant. Especially Frederick's plans for Alexander's medical future. Preston paled slightly. What are you talking about? The research protocols. The tissue sampling authorizations. The experimental treatments lined up through Frederick's biotech connections. Those are private family matters, Preston said stiffly. Exactly. Family matters. Devon stepped closer. And I am Alexander's family. His actual family. You wouldn't understand the complexities. I understand perfectly, Devon interrupted. Frederick sees a rare genetic opportunity. You see a burden and a reminder that Vanessa never really chose you. And somewhere in this twisted situation is my son, being treated like a commodity rather than a child. Preston's expression hardened. Be careful, Mercer. You're out of your depth. No, Henderson. For the first time in 7 years, I'm exactly where I need to be. Devon moved toward the door. Give Frederick a message from me. The game has changed. As Devon walked down the corridor, he nodded politely to Beatrice, who was showing Alexander a model building kit. She met his eyes briefly, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. That afternoon, Devon met with Martin and Dr. Sanjay in his hotel suite. The trap they set with Liam's flash drive was sophisticated, Martin reported. If you'd used that information directly, they'd have had grounds for both corporate espionage charges and a restraining order keeping you away from Alexander. Fortunately, we're smarter than that, Devon replied. What about Preston? Your suspicions were correct. He's been systematically emptying joint accounts with Vanessa for the past year. setting up offshore holdings, preparing for separation. And Frederick's biotech connections? Dr. Sanjay took over. Concerning GeneCore Therapeutics, his primary investment, has been pushing experimental protocols through FDA fast tracks by categorizing them as compassionate use for terminal patients. Using the dying as test subjects, Devin said grimly. Essentially, yes. Their success rate is abysmal, but their stock value keeps climbing because of Frederick's connections. Devin turned to the window, processing. So Frederick gets research data from Alexander. Preston extracts himself financially before the marriage implodes, and Vanessa is left with nothing except a sick child who's being used as a lab specimen. That about sums it up, Martin confirmed. What's our countermove? Devin turned back, his expression resolved. We destroy them all, but we protect Alexander and Vanessa. Vanessa? Martin asked, surprised. After what she did, she's Alexander's mother, and she's as much a victim of Frederick's machinations as anyone. Devin's voice softened slightly. She made terrible choices, but she loves our son. What's the plan? Dr. Sanjay asked. First, we secure Alexander medically. Dr. Sanjay, I want you to file for emergency medical oversight due to conflict of interest concerns. Use your credentials and connections. She nodded. I'll need documentation. You'll have it by morning. Martin, contact the SEC whistleblower office. We're going to expose GeneCore and Frederick's insider trading properly, with protections in place. And Preston, a cold smile crossed Devin's face. For him, I have something special. Contact Nina Reeves, the investigator who found me. I have a job for her. Over the next 3 days, Devin set his plan in motion. While the Harlows believed him focused solely on Alexander's medical progress, he was methodically dismantling the foundations of their empire. On the morning of the 4th day, Devin visited Alexander with an unexpected proposal. How would you like to see my office in Portland? He asked casually as they worked on architectural sketches together. Alexander's eyes widened. Really? Can I? If your mother agrees. I thought maybe when you're fully recovered, you both could visit. See where I work, what I do. You'd let Mom come too? Alexander asked, surprised. Of course. She's your mother. Alexander studied him with that unervingly perceptive gaze. Are you trying to take me away from her? No, Devin answered honestly. I'm trying to give you options. A life beyond what Frederick has planned for you. I don't like Grandpa Frederick's plans, Alexander confided. He talks about me like I'm one of his science projects. You've heard him discussing this? Alexander nodded solemnly. Adults think kids don't understand big words, but I do. Genome sequencing. Cellular regeneration protocols. Proprietary research assets. He pronounced each term carefully. I looked them up. Devin felt a surge of pride and worry. You're very resourceful. Mom says I get that from you. Alexander added details to his sketch. Is that true? Perhaps. Though your mother is quite resourceful herself, in different ways. Will you help her too? Alexander asked, still focused on his drawing. She cries a lot when she thinks I'm asleep. Preston makes her cry. The simple observation cemented Devin's resolve. Yes, Alexander. I'll help your mother too. That evening, Vanessa came to Devin's hotel room as requested. She looked nervous, twisting her wedding ring. You wanted to see me? Devin gestured to the sitting area. We need to talk about what happens next. If this is about custody, it's about protecting Alexander from your father, Devin interrupted. And from Preston. Vanessa sank into a chair. What are you talking about? Devin showed her the documents Beatrice had provided, plus the additional information his team had gathered. As Vanessa read, her face drained of color. This can't be right, she whispered. Daddy wouldn't. Preston couldn't. They would and they are, Devin stated flatly. Your father sees Alexander as a research opportunity. Preston sees him as an inconvenience to be managed until he can extract himself from your marriage with his finances intact. Tears slid down Vanessa's cheeks. I knew things were bad, but this. You have a choice to make, Devin continued. Continue as you have been, allowing your father to control your life and Alexander's future, or break free. How? She asked brokenly. The Harlow name is all I have. All Alexander has. That's not true. Devin leaned forward. You have me. Vanessa looked up, confusion evident. After everything I did to you? This isn't about you and me, Vanessa. It's about Alexander. Devin's voice softened slightly. He loves you. He's worried about you. And he deserves better than being caught between Frederick's ambitions and Preston's resentment. What are you suggesting? A new arrangement. Alexander splits his time between us. You divorce Preston before he can implement his financial extraction plan. My legal team will ensure you receive fair settlement that Frederick can't touch. And what do you get out of this? Vanessa asked, suspicion mingling with hope. My son, Devin answered simply. And the satisfaction of watching Frederick's carefully constructed plans collapse. Vanessa stared at the documents again. If I agree, what happens to my family? To Preston? That depends on them. Devin's expression hardened. But I won't lie to you. Your father and Preston have committed multiple legal and ethical violations. The consequences will be significant. You're going to destroy them, Vanessa realized. I'm going to expose them, Devin corrected. What happens after that is up to the authorities and their shareholders. Vanessa sat silent for a long moment, years of conditioning warring with maternal instinct. Finally, she looked up, something like resolve in her eyes. Alexander comes first, she said quietly. Whatever it takes to protect him. Devin nodded, offering his hand. Partners in this, then? Vanessa hesitated, then took it. Partners. Chapter 8. The Architect's Revenge. 1 week later, Devin stood in the doorway of Alexander's hospital room, watching his son pack his belongings. The bone marrow transplant had been remarkably successful, with Alexander's body accepting the new cells with minimal complications. The doctors had cleared him for discharge, with regular outpatient monitoring. Ready to go home? Devin asked. Alexander looked up. Which home? Mom's or yours? Your mother's for now. But I'll be nearby. I've rented a place in Hartford while we sort everything out. Are you coming to Thanksgiving dinner? Alexander asked innocently. It's next week. The question hit Devin with unexpected force. Thanksgiving, the anniversary of his departure 7 years ago. I don't think that would be a good idea. Why not? You're my dad. Before Devin could respond, Vanessa appeared in the doorway behind him. Actually, Alexander, we're doing something different for Thanksgiving this year. Just the three of us. At a restaurant. Alexander's face brightened. Really? No Grandpa Frederick lectures about stock markets. Not this year, Vanessa confirmed, exchanging a meaningful glance with Devin. The past week had transformed their relationship. Not romance. That bridge had burned completely, but a tentative alliance formed from shared concern for their son. Vanessa had filed for divorce from Preston 2 days earlier, using documentation Devin provided to secure emergency financial protections. Frederick's reaction had been predictably volcanic. Threats, manipulations, attempts to freeze Vanessa's accounts, all neutralized by preparations Devin had made. The elder Harlow didn't yet realize the true scope of what was coming. As they helped Alexander gather his things, Devin's phone buzzed with a text from Martin. Operation Eclipse initiating. T-minus 60 minutes. Everything okay? Vanessa asked, noticing his expression. Perfect timing, Devin replied. Alexander, how would you like to stop for ice cream on the way home? Before lunch, Alexander asked skeptically. Special circumstances call for special treats. As they left the hospital, Devin caught sight of Nina Reeves in the parking lot, nodding slightly in his direction. The investigator had become an unexpected ally, disgusted by what she'd discovered about the Harlow's intentions for Alexander. The family-owned ice cream parlor in downtown Hartford was quiet on a Tuesday morning. As Alexander deliberated between flavors, Devin's phone buzzed again. Eclipse activated. Turn on the news. Vanessa, Devin said quietly. You might want to see this. He pulled up a financial news stream on his tablet. The headline scrolled across the bottom. Breaking. SEC raids Genocor Therapeutics amid insider trading allegations. Harlow Investments under investigation. Vanessa's hand flew to her mouth. It's happening, she whispered. You really did it. This is just the beginning, Devin replied, equally quiet. Preston is next. Then your father personally. What exactly will happen to them? Financial ruin. Possible criminal charges. Definite civil suits from shareholders and research subjects' families. Devin's voice was detached, clinical. Frederick built his empire on exploitation and corruption. I'm simply bringing it to light. Before Vanessa could respond, Alexander returned with his ice cream selection. As they sat at a corner table, Devin's phone rang. Frederick Harlow. Should I answer? Devin asked Vanessa. She hesitated, then nodded. Put it on speaker. Alexander. Honey, why don't you go look at the toppings bar? Once Alexander was out of earshot, Devin answered. Frederick, what a surprise. You malicious bastard, Frederick snarled. Do you have any idea what you've done? Exposed your illegal medical research protocols? Revealed your insider trading? Or do you mean the evidence I provided to the pension fund that's been financing your lifestyle about your misappropriation of their investments? You won't get away with this, Frederick threatened. I made you once. I can destroy you again. No, Frederick, you can't. Devon's voice remained calm. Because this time, I'm not the desperate architect trying to please his wife's family. I'm the man who outsmarted you at your own game. Vanessa will never choose you over her family, Frederick declared. Blood is thicker than water. Why don't you ask her yourself? Devon placed the phone on the table between them. Vanessa stared at it for a long moment, years of conditioning and fear visible in her expression. Then she straightened, something hardening in her gaze. It's over, Daddy, she said clearly. What you planned for Alexander. It's unforgivable. Don't be dramatic, Frederick snapped. Everything I've done has been for this family's legacy. For your future. For Alexander's future. No, Vanessa countered, her voice growing stronger. It's been for your ego. Your empire. Your control. Alexander isn't a research subject. He's a little boy who deserves to be safe from your ambitions. You ungrateful. Goodbye, Frederick, Devon interrupted, ending the call. He looked at Vanessa with new respect. That couldn't have been easy. She took a shaky breath. 7 years too late, but better than never. Alexander returned with a small mountain of sprinkles atop his ice cream. As he chatted happily about his architectural ideas, Devon's phone continued to buzz with updates from Martin. Henderson Architecture stock down 42% and falling. Preston Henderson named in federal investigation of permit fraud. Gene Corps board voting to remove Frederick Harlow as chairman. By evening, the full scope of Devon's revenge had become clear. The carefully constructed Harlow-Henderson empire was collapsing under the weight of exposed corruption. Preston had been arrested on charges of financial fraud. Frederick was barricaded in his office with attorneys as federal agents executed search warrants. Throughout it all, Devon maintained his calm, taking Alexander to Vanessa's apartment as planned, helping him set up his new building set, discussing preliminary plans for visits to Portland. It wasn't until after Alexander had gone to bed that Vanessa confronted him. You've been planning this for 7 years, haven't you? She asked as they sat in her living room. Not exactly this, Devon admitted. Originally, my plan was pure destruction. Complete financial and social ruin for everyone involved in what happened that night. What changed? Alexander. Devon's expression softened slightly. Revenge becomes more complicated when innocent lives are involved. Vanessa studied him. You're different. Harder. Colder. Yes, Devon agreed simply. 7 years of building a life without the constant message that I wasn't good enough changed me. I'm sorry, Vanessa said suddenly. For that night. For what I said. For letting them poison everything between us. Devon regarded her thoughtfully. I believe you are. But it doesn't change anything between us. I know. She looked toward Alexander's bedroom. But it changes things for him. He has a father now. A real one. And a mother who's finally free of Frederick's control, Devon added. That matters too. Vanessa's phone rang. Beatrice. She answered hesitantly, listening for several minutes before responding. I understand, Mother. No, I don't blame you. Yes, he can stay with you until things settle. She hung up, turning to Devon. Thomas is having a breakdown. Preston tried to implicate him in the permit fraud scheme. Will he be okay? Eventually. Mother will protect him. Vanessa sighed deeply. She always protected us as much as she could. Hence the documents she provided me, Devon observed. Vanessa looked surprised. Mother helped you? In her way. She has her own regrets. Devon stood. I should go? It's been a long day, and tomorrow will be longer. The lawyers want to meet at 9, Vanessa confirmed. To discuss the custody arrangement. Joint custody, Devon reminded her. Equal time, equal say in his future. I know. Vanessa walked him to the door. Thank you. For saving him. For not taking him from me completely. You could have. That would have made me like Frederick, Devon replied. Using a child as a weapon. Alexander deserves better. As he turned to leave, Vanessa asked one final question. Will you ever forgive me? Truly. Devon paused, considering. No, he said finally. Some betrayals cut too deep for forgiveness. But for Alexander's sake, we can build something new. Something better than forgiveness. What's that? Respect, Devon answered. and perhaps, eventually, trust. Chapter 9, Foundations. 3 months later, Devin stood on the observation deck of Portland's tallest tower, Alexander beside him, both admiring the city sprawled below. "It's huge," Alexander exclaimed, pressing against the glass. "Can we see your buildings from here?" "A few of them." Devin pointed toward the river. "That's the Riverside Cultural Center we designed last year. And over there is the Sustainable Housing Development." Alexander studied each building intently. "They're even cooler in real life than in the pictures." It was Alexander's first visit to Portland, part of their new custody arrangement. 1 week with Devin every month, plus holidays split between parents. The transition had been smoother than expected, with Alexander adapting to the new reality with remarkable resilience. "How do you like staying at my place?" Devin asked as they took the elevator down. "It's awesome," Alexander enthused. "The roof garden is the best part. Can we grow vegetables up there next time I visit?" "Absolutely. We'll design the layout together." As they walked toward Devin's downtown apartment, he reflected on the changes of the past months. The Harlow Empire had collapsed spectacularly. Frederick faced multiple federal indictments for securities fraud, insider trading, and research violations. Preston had accepted a plea deal, implicating others to reduce his own sentence. Thomas had entered rehabilitation for substance abuse issues, finally free from Frederick's toxic influence. Beatrice had emerged relatively unscathed, having quietly distanced herself from her husband's business dealings years earlier. And Vanessa, she had surprised everyone, including Devin. Freed from both Frederick's control and Preston's manipulation, she had returned to her original passion, art history, securing a position at a small museum in Hartford. The woman who had once defined herself entirely through her family name was cautiously building an independent identity. "Dad," Alexander's voice pulled Devin from his thoughts. "Can I ask you something?" The word dad still caught Devin off guard, a warm shock each time Alexander used it. "Of course. Are you still mad at Mom? For what happened before?" Devin considered his answer carefully. "I'm not mad anymore. But some things can't be undone or forgotten. Like when Preston broke my robot and said sorry, but never really meant it." "Something like that," Devin replied, impressed by his son's perception. "But your mother and I are committed to giving you the best of both of us. That's what matters now." "Good." Alexander nodded decisively. "Because I made something for both of you." That evening, as they prepared dinner in Devin's apartment, Alexander presented his creation, a detailed architectural model crafted from materials Devin kept in his home office. It showed 3 structures connected by bridges, surrounded by gardens. "This one's your house," Alexander explained, pointing to a modernist structure. "And this one's Mom's. And this smaller one in the middle is mine. See the bridges? So I can go between them easily." The thoughtfulness of the design, the way Alexander had processed his new reality and created something beautiful from it, moved Devin deeply. "It's brilliant," he said softly. "You have real talent." "Mom says I get that from you," Alexander replied proudly. "She's keeping all my designs in a special portfolio." Later, after Alexander had gone to bed, Devin called Vanessa as arranged to give their nightly update. "He's settling in well," Devin reported. "Designed a remarkable architectural model today." "The connected houses?" Vanessa asked. "He's been sketching variations for weeks. You've seen it. He wanted it to be perfect before showing you." A pause. "You inspire him, you know. He talks about your buildings constantly." The conversation continued easily, co-parents discussing their child's day, his interests, his progress. Not friends, certainly not lovers, but partners in the most important project of their lives. After hanging up, Devin stood on his balcony overlooking Portland. 7 years ago, he had left Connecticut with nothing but determination and rage. Now he had something he'd never anticipated, a son, a future beyond revenge. The final phase of his plan had executed perfectly. Frederick Harlow would likely die in prison. Preston Henderson had lost everything: his company, his reputation, his freedom. The Harlow name, once synonymous with power and influence, now appeared in headlines alongside words like fraud and corruption. Yet the victory felt different than Devin had imagined during those years of planning. Less about destruction and more about construction, building something new from the ruins. His phone buzzed with a text from Martin. "Final Henderson architecture assets liquidated today. Transfer complete." You now own everything they stole from you. Devin smiled coldly. The ultimate irony. He had reacquired all the designs and innovations Preston had stolen, plus the prestigious client list built on that stolen work. The architectural empire Frederick and Preston had built now belonged to the man they had once mocked as a failure. In his bedroom, Alexander slept peacefully, unaware of the final move in his father's long game. When he was older, perhaps Devin would explain it all. Or perhaps not. Some legacies weren't worth passing on. Tomorrow, they would visit Russell Bergen to discuss the firm's expansion. Next month, Alexander would return to Hartford, to his mother and his school. The pattern would continue. 2 homes, 2 parents committed to his well-being, if not to each other. It wasn't forgiveness. Devin Mercer, now legally Davis Morgan again, didn't believe in forgiveness. The Thanksgiving night when Vanessa had laughed and called him the marriage mistake had broken something irreparable between them. But from that breakage, something unexpected had grown. Not reconciliation, not forgiveness, but perhaps something more durable, a foundation built on hard truths rather than comfortable lies. As Portland's lights glimmered below, Devin made a silent promise to the sleeping boy down the hall. The cycle would end here. The bitterness that had defined the Harlow legacy would not touch Alexander. He would inherit only the strength, the resilience, the capacity to build rather than destroy. That would be Devin's true revenge, raising a son who would never become the kind of man Frederick Harlow had been. A son who would build bridges rather than burn them. And in that, perhaps, lay a form of redemption neither Devin nor Vanessa had anticipated, not for themselves, but for the future they had created together. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.